Good evening. This is All India Radio. I am Anubha Rohatgi and with me is Aditi Lumba with the evening news. The headlines. India to begin COVID vaccination for children from 12 to 14 years of age from tomorrow. Prime Minister Narendra Modi interacts with embassy officials and community organizations involved in Ukraine evacuation. Over 22,500 Indian citizens returned safely from Ukraine, External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar tells Parliament. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh says government accords highest priority to safety and security of India's weapon systems. PLI scheme for automobile and auto component industry attracts investment of 74,850 crore rupees. India dispatches fourth convoy of 2,000 metric tons of wheat to Afghanistan. And in Women's Cricket World Cup, India will take on defending champions England in Mount Maunganui tomorrow. As we start the bulletin, we appeal to our listeners to stay safe from COVID-19 by following these 4 simple steps. Get fully vaccinated, wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing, focus on hand and face hygiene. And now the news in detail. The COVID vaccination for children in the age group of 12 to 14 years will begin in the country from tomorrow. Only Corbevax vaccine will be administered to the beneficiaries of this age group. The vaccine has been developed by Hyderabad-based pharmaceutical company Biological E Limited. Corbevax is the country's first indigenously developed receptor-binding domain protein subunit vaccine against COVID-19. Union Health Secretary Rajesh Bhushan has written a letter to Chief Secretaries and Administrators of all states and union territories in this regard. The Health Secretary said the vaccine will be administered to only those children who have attained the age of 12 years on the date of vaccination. The vaccinator and the verifier will be responsible to ensure that any beneficiary aged less than 12 years on the date of vaccination is not vaccinated, with special attention to those born in 2010. All beneficiaries who have attained the age of 12 years will be able to register on CoWIN. Talking to AIR News, the chairman of country's COVID task force, Dr. N.K. Arora, said they can book appointments online or on-site through walk-in.
You can start at CoWIN platform and then go to the recommended vaccination center. But in case there is difficulty, just walk into any of the vaccination centers with evidence of the age of the child. Child should not go empty stomach, but after getting the vaccine injection, the child has to wait for half an hour to see if there is any reaction. This vaccine is very safe. There are no reactions. In fact, much less as compared to all the other COVID vaccines. And if there is some local pain or mild swelling in the local area, in that case, paracetamol can be given to the child.
Additionally, all above 60 years of age will now be eligible for a precaution dose from tomorrow. Health Secretary Rajesh Bhushan said the condition of comorbidity for a precaution dose to people above 60 years of age has also been removed. Prioritization and sequencing of this dose will be based on completion of 9 months from the date of second dose. Vaccination of precaution dose should be with the same vaccine with which primary vaccination was done. Mr. Bhushan said the national COVID-19 vaccination program has covered 95.5% of the eligible population with at least 1 dose of vaccine, while more than 80% of the eligible beneficiaries are fully vaccinated. He said the mammoth task has been made possible with the active support from states and union territories. Over 180 crore 40 lakh vaccine doses have been administered so far under the nationwide vaccination drive. The recovery rate is currently at 98.72%. Over 4,000 people recovered in the last 24 hours. Over 2,000 new cases of COVID-19 were recorded in the same period.
China reported nearly 5,400 new COVID cases today, as the country is battling a severe surge led by Omicron variant from Jilin in northeast to Guangdong in south, confining tens of millions of people in lockdown. This is the highest daily count since the start of the pandemic, with Jilin province being the worst hit, which reported more than 4,000 new local cases in today's surge. Announcing the numbers today, China's National Health Commission said the COVID-19 situation in China is grim and complex, making it more difficult to prevent and control. At least 10 cities and counties have been locked down because of the latest surge, including the tech hub of Shenzhen, home to 17 million, and financial hub Shanghai remains in semi-lockdown. Prime Minister Narendra Modi today interacted with embassy officials and community organizations involved in Ukraine evacuation. Union Ministers Hardeep Puri, Jyotiraditya Scindia, Kiren Rijiju and Minister of State for Civil Aviation General V.K. Singh also participated in interaction which was held through video conferencing.
Over 22,500 Indian citizens have returned safely from Ukraine under challenging circumstances amid the ongoing conflict between Russia and Ukraine. Making a statement in both houses of parliament on the situation in Ukraine, the External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar said 90 flights, both civilian and of Indian Air Force, operated under Operation Ganga. He said 76 civilian flights and 14 Indian Air Force flights were operated for the evacuation drive as per the direction of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. More than half of the students were in universities in eastern Ukraine that borders Russia.
Despite the challenges posed by the serious ongoing conflict, we have ensured that about 22,500 citizens have returned home safely. The House would recognize the complexity of the various endeavors that have made it possible. A tense situation between Russia and Ukraine erupted into conflict on 24 February 2022. The root causes for this are complex, going back to a range of issues, including the security architecture, political governance, and interstate politics. To that was added the challenges of implementing understandings reached earlier. What is pertinent to note is that hostilities placed the Indian community of 20,000 plus in direct danger. Even while we were participating in the global deliberations of this evolving situation in the UN Security Council, the pressing challenge was to safeguard our citizens and ensure that they were not in harm's way.
The minister said Operation Ganga is a testimony of India's commitment to ensure that Indians in distress situations abroad can count on their government.
At the direction of the Prime Minister, we launched Operation Ganga, thereby undertaking one of the most challenging evacuation exercises during an ongoing conflict situation. The exercise involved movement in a war-torn situation in a large country, at times lengths over 1,000 kilometers, and it required exiting borders clogged by an estimated 26 lakh refugees. The entire exercise involved a whole-of-the-government approach.
Dr. Jaishankar said when a credible ceasefire was needed to evacuate the students, the Prime Minister himself spoke to the presidents of Ukraine and Russia, due to which the evacuation at Sumy was made possible. Mr. Jaishankar stated that Indian embassy personnel went to extraordinary lengths in difficult circumstances to ensure that Operation Ganga was successful. In line with India's principle of Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam, foreign nationals were also evacuated from the conflict zones and brought to India. This included citizens from Nepal and Bangladesh. The minister informed that the mortal remains of Indian student Naveen Shekharappa Gyanagaudar, who was killed in Ukraine, will be brought back to India, and the Indian embassy is pursuing the matter. On the ongoing situation between Russia and Ukraine, the External Affairs Minister said India's position is consistent and it has expressed deep concern over the conflict. He said India calls for immediate cessation of violence.
In Ukraine, at least 19 people were killed following rocket attack by Russia on a TV tower in the western part of the country. The Rivne regional government posted in its Facebook page today that the rocket hit a TV tower in Antopol, a village outside the city of Rivne. The village is only about 160 kilometers away from the border of NATO member state Poland. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky has said that talks between Ukrainian and Russian delegations will continue today. Speaking in a video address, Mr. Zelensky said that the Ukrainian delegation did good work during yesterday's talks. However, he did not provide details. Mr. Zelensky said he spoke yesterday to Israeli Prime Minister Naftali Bennett as part of the efforts to quickly end the war and achieve lasting peace. Israeli Prime Minister, who has sought to mediate a peaceful settlement, also spoke to Russian President Vladimir Putin.
Defence Minister Rajnath Singh today said the government accords highest priority to the safety and security of India's weapon systems. He asserted that India's missile system is safe, secure and very reliable. The Defence Minister was making a statement in both the Houses of Parliament today over the inadvertent firing of a missile last week. Mr. Singh said the country's safety procedures and protocols are of the highest order and are reviewed from time to time. He added that India's armed forces are well trained, disciplined and well experienced in handling such systems. The minister expressed regret over the inadvertent firing of a missile which landed in the territory of Pakistan. However, it did not cause any damage. He informed the House that a formal high-level inquiry has been ordered in this matter and the government has taken the matter seriously.
सरकार ने इस घटना को बहुत ही गंभीरतापूर्वक लिया है और इसके लिए एक औपचारिक उच्च स्तरीय जांच के आदेश दे दिए गए हैं। इस घटना के संदर्भ में ऑपरेशंस, मेंटेनेंस तथा इंस्ट्रक्शन के लिए स्टैंडर्ड ऑपरेटिंग प्रोसीजर्स की समीक्षा भी की जा रही है। हम अपने वेपन सिस्टम की सेफ्टी और सिक्योरिटी को सर्वोच्च प्राथमिकता देते हैं।
Defence Minister Rajnath Singh has said that armed forces will see a larger participation of women in the coming years due to the recent steps taken by the government. He was speaking at an event organised by FICCI Ladies Organisation in New Delhi today. The minister said that about 2 lakh women took the entrance exam last year with great enthusiasm. The percentage of women in the Indian Army will increase significantly in the coming times.
The Karnataka High Court today dismissed various petitions challenging a ban on hijab in educational institutions. The court said that wearing hijab is not an essential religious practice of Islam. A bench of Karnataka High Court comprising Chief Justice Ritu Raj Avasthi, Justice Krishna S. Dikshit and Justice J. M. Kazi said no case is made out for invalidating the government order issued on 5th February this year. On 5th of February, the Pre-University Education Board released a circular stating that students can only wear the uniform approved by the school administration and no other religious attire will be allowed in the educational institutions. After the High Court's decision, the Karnataka government said that all students must adhere to the uniform and banned both hijab and saffron scarves till an expert committee decide on the issue. Minister of State for Social Justice and Empowerment Ram Das Athavale has welcomed the decision of Karnataka High Court on hijab ban. Briefing reporters in New Delhi today, Mr. Athavale said the religious matters should be kept separate from schools. He said Muslim society should not believe that this decision is against them.
The Production-Linked Incentive PLI scheme for automobile and auto component industry in India has been successful in attracting a proposed investment of 74,850 crore rupees against the target estimate investment of 42,500 crore rupees over a period of 5 years. Heavy Industries Minister Mahendra Nath Pandey has said the massive response received in PLI scheme for automobile and auto component industry is because of the various incentives like Make in India and Atmanirbhar Bharat by the Modi government. Talking exclusively to AIR this evening, the minister said the proposed investment of 74,850 crore rupees is a reflection of how the NDA government is taking the auto industry ahead in global competition. Mr. Pandey said Prime Minister Narendra Modi's vision of making India a global hub of manufacturing has been another key factor behind this response.
हम लोगों ने जब PLI ऑटो लॉन्च किया और कैबिनेट डिसीजन के बाद हम एक्सपेक्ट करते थे कि करीब 42-43 हजार करोड़ तक के इन्वेस्टमेंट आएंगे, लेकिन हमने पूरी तत्परता से और पब्लिक डोमेन में इसको डाल के बहुत ही पारदर्शी और खुलेपन से इस पर पहल की। तो जिस तरह का रिस्पांस आया है ये अपने आप में बहुत स्वागत योग्य है। बड़ी प्रसन्नता के साथ कहने की स्थिति में हूं कि लगभग 75,000 करोड़ तक के इन्वेस्टमेंट के प्रपोजल प्रस्तुत हुए हैं और हम लोगों ने उस हिसाब से उसकी स्वीकृतियां प्रदान की हैं।
The minister said the PLI scheme will definitely pave the way for reducing countries' dependency on advanced components and foreign technology. Responding to a query about the employment opportunities under the initiative, he said it will generate around 10 lakh direct employment and large-scale indirect employment. Road Transport and Highways Minister Nitin Gadkari has said that the cost of construction has to be reduced without compromising on quality. The minister was addressing the 17th annual conference on road development in India. Mr. Gadkari said that dependence on cement and steel can be reduced by using different waste material like waste rubber and plastic in road construction. The minister said efforts are on to formulate policy for rating the contractors and companies for making detailed project reports. He said green hydrogen is the fuel for the future. Mr. Gadkari said it is time for the country to create more alternatives and competition. The minister said it is also being planned to formulate a policy for making bitumen from biomass. He also emphasized on road safety and said more efforts are needed in this area from all the stakeholders.
The BJP Parliamentary Party meeting was held at Ambedkar Bhavan in New Delhi today. During the meeting, Prime Minister Narendra Modi and BJP President JP Nadda were felicitated in view of a massive win of the party in 4 states in the recently held assembly elections. Home Minister Amit Shah, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh, Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal and Minister of State and PMO Dr. Jitendra Singh were among those who attended the meeting. Addressing the BJP Parliamentary Party meeting, the Prime Minister came down heavily on those who are attempting to discredit the facts in the film, The Kashmir Files.
जो लोग हमेशा फ्रीडम ऑफ एक्सप्रेशन के झंडे लेकर के घूमते हैं, वो पूरी जमात बौखला गई है पिछले 5-6 दिन से। आर्ट के आधार पर उसकी विवेचना करने के बजाय उसको डिस्क्रेडिट करने के लिए बड़ा मुहिम चला है, आपने देखा होगा। एक पूरी इकोसिस्टम कोई सत्य उजागर करने का साहस करे, उसको जो सत्य लगा उसने प्रस्तुत करने की कोशिश की, लेकिन उस सत्य को न समझने की तैयारी, न स्वीकारने की तैयारी है, न ही दुनिया इसको देखे इसके लिए उनकी मंजूरी है। जिस प्रकार का षड्यंत्र पिछले 5-6 दिन से चल रहा है, मेरा विषय कोई फिल्म नहीं है, मेरा विषय है कि जो सत्य है उसको सही स्वरूप में देश के सामने लाना देश की भलाई के लिए होता है।
Union Information and Broadcasting Minister Anurag Singh Thakur has said that BJP has once again come to power in 4 states of Uttar Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Goa and Manipur on the basis of welfare schemes, development and honesty. Talking to the media at Kangra in Himachal Pradesh, Mr. Thakur said that the way the BJP government has been formed in all the 4 states this year, it has become clear that in 2024 the BJP government will be formed once again at the centre under the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. He said after being in power for 5 years in Uttarakhand, the Bharatiya Janata Party has returned to power again with its phenomenal work. BJP governments in Uttar Pradesh, Goa and Manipur also did the same, so they came to power again. He said that the BJP-led government in Himachal Pradesh has done a great job in the last 5 years and will again make a grand comeback to power.
Foreign Secretary Harshvardhan Shringla today chaired the 6th India-Japan Act East Forum with Ambassador Satoshi Suzuki. They reviewed progress of ongoing projects in connectivity, hydropower, forest management, water supply and sewerage, skills and Japanese language, and exchanged views on further cooperation. India today dispatched the 4th convoy of humanitarian assistance to Afghanistan, consisting of 2,000 metric tons of wheat. Till now, a total of 8,000 metric tons have been sent to the country. World Food Programme is distributing the wheat within Afghanistan.
Consumer Affairs Minister Piyush Goyal today said effective enforcement of laws is necessary to protect consumer interests and encourage high-quality products and services. He, however, said legal provisions should not be used to harass small businessmen and traders. The minister was addressing a day-long event on fair digital finance on the occasion of the World Consumer Rights Day. Mr. Goyal asked consumers to demand high-quality products so that India can become a world leader in goods and services. You're listening to the evening news on All India Radio. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts.
अपने बिजनेस को बढ़ाने के लिए लीजिए आकाशवाणी का सहयोग और दीजिए उसे बुलंदियों के पंख।
आपका बिजनेस लोकल है या राष्ट्रीय, आकाशवाणी देती है उपभोक्ताओं तक पहुंचने का हर विकल्प।
और अब तो आप घर, दफ्तर या दुकान पर बैठे बैठे कर सकते हैं आकाशवाणी के किसी भी केंद्र के लिए विज्ञापनों की बुकिंग।
आकाशवाणी के विभिन्न चैनलों पर विज्ञापन देना सुलभ और सस्ता।
बुकिंग है तो संपर्क करें 8700014242 पर।
8700014242।
Welcome back to the evening news. Now a review of proceedings in Parliament today. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh made a statement in both houses of Parliament today over the inadvertent firing of a missile last week. He asserted that India's missile system is very reliable and the safety procedures are of the highest order, and described the recent accidental missile release as regrettable. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar made a statement in both the houses of Parliament on the situation in the war-torn Ukraine. He said 22,500 Indian students have returned safely from Ukraine. Now a review of proceedings in the Lok Sabha. The writer is Achinta Bohra of PTI. Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary of Congress demanded a court-monitored CBI probe into the killing of party councillor Tapan Kandu and the mysterious death of student activist Anis Khan in West Bengal. Raising the issue during the 0 hour, Chaudhary alleged the ruling Trinamool Congress was involved in the murder of Kandu in collusion with a section of the police. About the death of the 18-year-old Khan, last month, Chaudhry, who is also the state Congress chief, claimed that elections can no longer be held independently in the state amid the prevailing lawlessness. T.R. Balu of DMK said more than 7 bills have been passed by the Tamil Nadu Assembly and sent to the governor for his assent, but these were still awaiting his nod. Dean Kuriakose of Congress sought the External Affairs Minister's intervention in the case of a 33-year-old woman, Nimisha Priya, jailed in Yemen for the alleged killing of a Yemeni national. Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla said he has accepted the resignation of Punjab Chief Minister Designate and Aam Aadmi Party MP Bhagwant Mann with effect from 14th of March. Mann, who was AAP's chief ministerial candidate for the Punjab Assembly polls, won elections from Dhuri Assembly segment in the state. Opposition members accused the government of indulging in jugglery of railway finances and sought to know whether it intends to privatize the Indian Railways after Air India. Initiating the debate on demands for grant for 2022-23 for railway, K. Suresh of Congress accused the government of running the railways in an inefficient manner and said it is indulging in jugglery in allocation of funds. He alleged that the intention of this government is privatizing the Indian Railways also. He said Air India is already sold. Now the next step of this government is Indian Railways. Expressing concern over huge vacancies in the railways, Kanimozi Karunanidhi of TMK said South Indians don't get jobs and it seems that there is an effort to keep them away. She demanded that the government clarify as to how 100% electrification can be achieved by next year if it is 73% at present. Satabdi Roy of TMC stressed the need to bring down platform ticket price from 50 rupees to reasonable levels. The price was raised in the wake of COVID-19 pandemic and since the situation has improved, the ministry should look at it, Roy said. She also sought to know the stand of the government on privatization and what impact it will have on common man. Gajanan Kirtikar of Shiv Sena raised the issue of rehabilitation by the railways caused due to expansion of tracks. The ministry should also focus on commercial usage of additional land that the railways has, he said. Shyam Singh Yadav of BSP alleged that the railways is no longer a common man's transport with increasing prices and privatization. Sunil Kumar Pinto of JDU said that the Patna Rajdhani Express should ply from New Delhi railway station's platform number 16 like in the pre-COVID days to facilitate easy station exit of passengers from Bihar who carry food grains and fresh vegetables when they come from home. Nusrat Jahan of TMC, Arun Sao of BJP and Rahul Ramesh Shivale of Shiv Sena, among others, also participated in the debate. The discussion was continuing till the time of writing this script.
And now review proceedings in Rajya Sabha. Writer is Sanjeev Chopra of PTI. The Minister for Development of North Eastern Region, G. Kishan Reddy, said the government is working towards making North East India's new engine of growth and there has been remarkable development of the region under the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Replying to the discussion in the Rajya Sabha, Mr. Reddy said the centre has worked on holistic development of the region since 2014 by focusing on bringing peace, improving infrastructure and connectivity through enhanced budgetary support. He also said in the last 8 years of Modi government, there has been remarkable development in the Northeast. He said the region has been accorded top priority of the development under the Prime Minister's agenda of transforming India. Before 2014, there were different challenges to the development of Northeast, where the government has been working towards bringing about inclusive growth, development and creation of new opportunities. Arguing that peace and stability were prerequisites for development, he said a sea change is visible in the region where large-scale infrastructure development has taken place. The minister also highlighted the decline in insurgency-related incidents besides a decrease in the number of security forces and civilians killed. The number of surrendered extremists has increased to 2,696 in 2020 from 291 in 2014, while the quantity of arms surrendered has gone up in the last 8 years, the minister said. Noting that connectivity is a big challenge to the development of the region, he said the government has been focusing on improving rail, road, air, waterway, telecom and internet connectivity with all the 8 states. He said India cannot develop unless the Northeast is developed, adding that our aim and our commitment is for the development of the region. Rajya Sabha members also participated in the discussion on the working of Ministry of Tribal Affairs in the evening. Earlier, during 0 hour, BJP member Sushil Kumar Modi said, Banking fraud cases of more than 13,000 crore rupees in Mumbai are pending investigation for want of consent by Maharashtra government for probe by the Central Bureau of Investigation. He said more than 100 cases of bank frauds running in over 50,000 crore rupees could not be investigated because of the lack of consent for probe by different state governments. In a zero-hour mention, GVL Narasimha Rao of BJP made a demand for celebrating the 550th birth anniversary of Emperor Sri Krishna Devaraya of Vijayanagar Empire. Manoj Kumar Jha of RJD said the beeri industry in India is unorganized, unregulated, unchecked, and it poses a significant health risk to the workers employed in the beeri rolling process. Mr. Jha said the Ministry of Labour and Employment must conduct a study to understand the reasons for the low penetration of the support given to the women beeri workers and reorient their policy approach accordingly. MDMK member Vaiko asked the government to find solution to frequent attacks by Sri Lankan Navy on Tamil Nadu fishermen. Venkataraman Rao, Mopi Devi of YSRCP urged the central government to compensate the fishermen for the losses incurred due to the imposition of restrictions by the government on fishing and fish trading activities during naval events and naval exercises at Visakhapatnam. Ilamaran Karim of CPIM raised an issue related to ICDS, NHM and midday meal, which is now known as PM Poshan scheme. He said around 60 lakh women, 26 Anganwadi workers and helpers, 27 lakh midday meal workers and 10 lakh ASHA workers deliver the services to each household of the country but are not recognized as workers. BJP member Ajay Pratap Singh demanded prohibition and regulation of use of Corex and Iodex. He said these two are being used as intoxicants. That's all in Parliament Review.
Union Minister for Information and Broadcasting Anurag Thakur has said that Prasar Bharati is providing its various radio channels originating from AIR stations on its News on Air application on Android and iOS platform for mobile users. In a written reply in the Lok Sabha today, the minister said that Prasar Bharati has 32 AIR stations where 38 medium-wave transmitters and 3 short-wave transmitters are in operation in AM bands, which are available in both analog and digital radio mode. The minister also added that Prasar Bharati is providing AIR Kerala satellite radio channel in Malayalam language digitally on DD Free Dish. The Border Roads Organisation today signed an MOU with Garden Reach Shipbuilders and Engineers Limited for construction of 27 double-lane class 70 modular bridges in border areas. The MOU includes fabrication, supply, erection and launching of 27 double-lane bridges of carriageway 7.5 meters with Indian Road Congress IRC load class 70 along the northern and northeastern border states. It reinforces the commitment of BRO for greater self-reliance on indigenous equipment and achieving overall aim of Atmanirbhar Bharat. It will also ensure better infrastructure development in border areas, keeping in view the nation's security needs.
Youth Affairs and Sports Ministry has sanctioned over 506 crore rupees for 77 sports infrastructure projects in the Himalayan region under Khelo India scheme. In a written reply in Lok Sabha today, Youth Affairs and Sports Minister Anurag Thakur said 24 sports academies have been accredited and 199 Khelo India centres on district level and 11 Khelo India state centres of excellence have been approved under the Khelo India scheme in the Himalayan region. In cricket, India will take on defending champions England in the 4th match of ICC Women's World Cup at Bay Oval in Mount Maunganui tomorrow. The match will begin at 6:30 a.m. Indian time. So far, India have won 2 matches, one against Pakistan and the other against West Indies, and lost 1 game to host New Zealand, while England has not tasted any victory in the tournament so far.
Now let us take a look at the weather forecast for tomorrow. The national capital Delhi is likely to have strong surface winds during daytime. Jammu, Srinagar and Muzaffarabad will have mainly clear sky. Leh and Gilgit are likely to have partly cloudy skies. Imphal, Shillong and Kohima will have mainly clear sky, and Agartala will have mist. Temperature will hover between 20 and 36 degrees Celsius. And now before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. India to begin COVID vaccination for children from 12 to 14 years of age from tomorrow. Prime Minister Narendra Modi interacts with embassy officials and community organizations involved in Ukraine evacuation. Over 22,500 Indian citizens returned safely from Ukraine, External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar tells Parliament. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh says government accords highest priority to safety and security of India's weapon systems. PLI scheme for automobile and auto component industry attracts investment of 74,850 crore rupees. India dispatches fourth convoy of 2,000 metric tons of wheat to Afghanistan. And in Women's Cricket World Cup, India will take on defending champions England in Mount Maunganui tomorrow. And with that, we end the evening news. Good night.